Welcome into the 2-0 Falcons Today show. We're going to break down our overreactions after Atlanta's win against the Packers. Plus, we have some quick news to hit on. So let's get right into it with the Falcons re-signing a player. Aaron Wilson was the first one to tweet out the Falcons have re-signed Demone Harris. He's a defensive end that has bopped around the league. UDFA out of Buffalo back in 2018. He was with the Bucs for a little bit, with the Chiefs, was with the Falcons. They released him, and now they are bringing him back. I don't know if this is a sign of an injury at that same position. Probably means there is something moving on the defensive line, outside linebacker spot, but definitely something to keep an eye on. But Atlanta making a roster move after their Week 2 win. Now, while we talk about Week 2, I do want to get you guys ready for Week 3 because the Falcons have an opportunity to knock off the Detroit Lions and be 3-0. So if you want to beat the Lions on Sunday, well, let's get the party started now. Let's get the 3-0 parade going already. Let's fly the banner by knocking off the Lions in a sub-battle this week. Join the channel. Help us reach our next milestone, 15,000 subscribers. Okay, let's get into some overreactions on Overreaction Monday. First one, Bijan Robinson. Is he a top 5 running back? I'm going to say yes. I don't think this is actually that big of an overreaction. It's only been 2 weeks into his NFL career, but I can come up with a list of players that I think fit the top 5. You can order them however you want, but I think Bijan deserves to be in the top 5. I've got Christian McCaffrey at 1, Nick Chubb at 2, Derrick Henry at 3. That's more of just a nod to everything Henry has done and just don't doubt Henry. Bijan at 4 and Saquon at 5. Who would you put in over these guys? Josh Jacobs? I don't think so. Jonathan Taylor? Maybe. But I'm going to take Bijan over both of those players right now, and I bet Raiders and Colts fans would as well. What Bijan could do, it's just not fair. I was talking about this after the game with some of the guys here at Chat Sports who were like, catch me up, what happened in the Falcons game? They came back, and I said, the Falcons were literally just playing with their food. On 4th and goal, or 4th down, 4th and inches, they are pitching it to Bijan, knowing he's going to be 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage when you only need half a yard or so, but it's Bijan. Who's stopping him? Who's taking him down in the open field on their first try? Nobody is. Bijan can get to the corner. He can get the edge. He can run people over. He can catch. He can block. He does everything. Usually, when you do a My Madden player, there's always something that they're a weakness at. No, Bijan is just 99 on everything. When you look at his stats against Green Bay this past Sunday, 125 rushing yards, 48 yards through the air. The guy has been an absolute yak monster, and he just continues to pump out yards no matter how it's asked, right? Between the tackles, outside, through the air, Bijan continues to move the rock. In fact, he's already top 5 in all-purpose yards across all positions, right? Excluding quarterback, of course. But Justin Jefferson, number 1, no surprise. Christian McCaffrey, number 2. Puka Naku, I don't know. I still haven't learned how to pronounce this guy's name. I didn't get him on my waiver wire, so I don't really care about him. Tyreek Hill and Bijan are tied for 4th. So, Bijan, if you're in company with Justin Jefferson, Christian McCaffrey, Puka, and Tyreek Hill, that's pretty good company, mostly because of Puka. But here it is. There was a lot of disagreement when Atlanta drafted Bijan at number 8. And that was too high to take a running back. And they already had Tyler Algier. So it didn't make sense to invest that much into the position. Bijan was absolutely worth it. They did not just draft a really good running back in round 1. I know that this is early to say, but I continue to say it. When Bijan goes down as the Falcons' all-time leader in rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, anything that involves rushing the football, we're going to look back and go, yeah, how could you pass on him? The guy had Hall of Fame talent coming out of college, and that's not that much of an overreaction to say. Now that we are through 2 weeks of the Bijan Robinson experience, how would you grade it? Scale it 1 to 10 for me. How about that? 1, I don't know. Actually, there's no one giving a 1. Let's go from 7 to 10 because the lowest you could be is a 7, and I'm at an 11. The guy has been terrific through 2 games. Finding ways to score, finding ways to move the chains, picking up big yardage, ripping off long runs. I'm in love with Bijan. There, I said it. Moving on to the next overreaction. Desmond Ridder isn't the guy is a very weird topic a lot of people are talking about. I need to see more. It's a little strange that the Falcons are 2-0, not 0-2. And there is not a couple of trolls on Twitter, but a good chunk of the audience saying Desmond sucks, Ridder sucks. Listen, Ridder has flashed a lot of good things. He showed some clutch genes. He had some great runs against Green Bay. He also had some bad moments. He threw his first career interception. He honestly should have thrown 3 interceptions. 2 were dropped, one by Jair Alexander, one by Quay Walker. But the point remains, Atlanta's 2-0 right now with Desmond Ridder as their starting quarterback. So no, I'm not going to say after a 2-0 start, yeah, but it's an asterisk, it's Mickey Mouse. You knocked off the Bengals. You knocked off the Panthers. That's, a very winnable game, one you should win. But you also came back down 12. And here's what I liked about Desmond Ridder. I mean, old Matthew would have said, no way this happens, because Atlanta's offense is not designed to make 2-score comebacks in the fourth quarter because they want to run the ball a lot. Well, Desmond Ridder in week 2, they aired it out, and he got it done, right? He linked up with Matt Collins on a big play down the field off a trick play. He linked up with Drake London and Bijan Robinson. For what I thought would be the Achilles heel of this offense, which would be forcing Desmond Ridder to pass it late and staying in the pocket, no, that wasn't the case at all. Desmond Ridder led Atlanta to 3 scoring drives in the fourth quarter to complete a 12-point comeback and win by 1. Ridder has turned it up in the fourth quarter, and that is an awesome sight to see. I mean, just 2 fourth quarters in the books right now. He's 10 for 12, 181 yards, 1 rushing score, and that was an awesome rushing touchdown too, right? He didn't just waltz into the end zone. He was breaking ankles. He was diving into gaps. He was dodging out of them. He was following the 5 Ds of dodgeball while scoring a touchdown and 0 interceptions. Ridder might have the clutch factor. It might not always be pretty for all 4 quarters, but what I've seen out of him, especially just a small sample size, but on Sunday, it was 12 points and we want to run the ball. Oh no, there's no way we can come back. Nope, Ridder's got no problem throwing the ball around a little bit, making some big-time plays, linking up with his guys. And honestly, the stars of the Falcons, knowing we might not have a lot of depth after Bijan, Algier, Hollins, and London, and Pitts, but if these 5 guys can stay on the field together with Ridder at quarterback, I think they're very capable of winning a lot of football games and making comebacks like this. But now that we have 6 starts with Desmond Ridder in the books, is he the future QB1? I know it feels too early to say, but is it? Like 6 starts is a good chunk of sample size. I mean, it's a lot of tape. It's a lot of data points to look at. And I don't know if Ridder is going to be the next Matt Ryan for this franchise in terms of just the longevity, ignoring what Ryan accomplished. But I think Ridder's on a good track right now to be here more than just 1 season. Now, before we get to the rest of my overreactions, our sportsbook partner, BetUS, is waiting for the Dirty Birds to go to chatsports.com/betfalcons. Promo code Falcons125. When you put all that information in, you're going to get a 125% deposit bonus. So if you want to bet on Atlanta in week 3 in the Motor City, where they are currently 3.5-point dogs, and Detroit, by the way, does not appear to have David Montgomery, their starting running back for this game, I kind of like the Falcons plus 3.5. They might not win for sure, but I like getting a field goal. So give me plus 3.5 in Atlanta in Detroit. My third week 2 overreaction. This defense, is it special? I lean that way. I think this defense is starting to be a defense that might not win your fantasy league. No one gives a shit about your fantasy team, but they are a defense that are going to make some plays. They're going to make some clutch stops, and they're going to give their team a chance. I don't think we're going to have a lot of instances this year where on Monday morning we are blaming the defense for the loss, meaning the defense once again cost us the game. They're going to have bad quarters, they're going to have bad halves, they're going to have bad games. The defense might be cooking because you look at what they did against the Green Bay Packers. Now, this was a Packers offense without Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, David Bakhtiari, and Elton Jenkins for a majority, if not the entire game. That's their 4 best players on offense. If you power ranked the Packers offensive players, those are your top 4 guys, I would say. So that is definitely something to keep in mind here. But Atlanta only generated 7 pressures. They got 1 sack, but they somehow only allowed 151 passing yards. And they did all that without starting cornerback Jeff Okudah. So despite Jordan Love having a lot of time in the pocket, not having a lot of people breathing down his neck, they were not very effective in moving the ball down the field. The Packers' best play was throw it deep and let's hope the referees call defensive pass interference. That was their best play through the air. That's not going to really hold up for 17 games in the year. So Okudah should be back this Sunday in Detroit, and it's only fitting his first game as a Falcon is against his former team, the Lions. But A.J. Terrell, Jeff Okudah, Jesse Bates, Richie Grant, that's a really strong secondary. This pass rush continues to be a bit of a work in progress. It's only 2 weeks in, but I think it's a good committee that can get the job done. It might not have a lot of big flashing moments and whatnot, but I think they are a pass rush that you do have to game plan for appropriately. Now, what is your biggest week 2 overreaction? I run through 3 overreactions of myself and things I've found online. Let me know if you think I'm missing one down in the comment section. And while you're down there, if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Help us continue to grow as a channel. If we pick up more subscribers, I can, wage that against my bosses to get more studio spaces. So I need your help. Hit the sub button down below.